My name is Melinda Lavon. I'm the current chair of the Douglas County Democratic Party, and we are going to talk about what happened in August and what we're going to do to get ready for November. So, we're going to make this work. Oh, there we go. So, welcome in this morning to the seminar. We have some other acknowledgments that we'll go over. We're going to talk about the results from the primary in August, and we'll talk about our field plan a little bit for November. We have a finance note. I have a couple of special events to announce to you today, and then we'll close out. How about this result? Can you see the numbers already? So, our county voted no by 84%. We turned out 27,315 no ballots. And we did this in a higher percentage of voting no compared to the rest of the state of Kansas. But 61% is still a really nice, healthy victory. And we are so glad that we're not launching campaigns for Supreme Court justices, right? We have enough things to try to win. So, we had 11 Democrats run for U.S. Senate this year, didn't we? That was a lot. And on this side, county, this is all for Douglas County, and you can see who won the majority of the votes. And then you can see statewide, and that Adam Hamilton procured 35% statewide, and he is our nominee going forward. I did like his new grilling video. Has anybody seen the video where Adam Hamilton is grilling steak? I thought it was good. We should just mention Pond Narrowmore. This guy signed up, didn't raise a single dollar, didn't talk to anybody, didn't go on the campaign trail, and 32% of Republicans in our county voted for him because that's how much they don't like Roger Marshall, right? Yeah. And then same thing statewide. The guy didn't do a thing, got 20%. So, yeah, of Republicans, that's right. That's their displeasure with Roger Marshall and his leadership and what people are getting from him. So that is one of the reasons why so many people think that the U.S. Senate race in Kansas this year is a lot more competitive than what it has been in other years. Oh, there it goes. First congressional district, we also have a primary there. In the second congressional district, Don Coover, who's a large animal veterinarian and actually just a really fun guy to even talk to. He did not have a primary, so he automatically won that. And then Colin McRoberts and Lauren Reinhold. I don't know how I put it that way, it still worked, but we'll try that again later. We had quite a few people come out and vote in this race. Biden should not be our governor. He has been in charge of the Senate and all the legislation passed in the last several years. How long has he been Senate president, Marcy?
6 years.
6? Right. Yeah, so he's had an iron fist on everything that we can and cannot do or must do. If he wanted to resolve your property taxes or give you relief, he would have done it by now. So we'll be encouraging everyone to vote for Cindy. We should talk about Pat Proctor. This man does not think that women should vote. He thinks we should do household voting, there shouldn't be mail-in ballots, and that election day should be one day only. Boo! Yeah. Yeah, this guy is kind of awful. And we do not want him in charge of our elections in the state of Kansas. And so instead, we will look at who won the Democratic nomination for Secretary of State, and that's Jennifer Day. I thought the turnout in this race was actually pretty good. Some of these down-ballot races end up with a lot of what we call undercounts. Like there were certainly Democrats, based on numbers, that came in and voted for Senate and the constitutional amendment, and that's it. There were other ballots that people voted for Senate and governor and the constitutional amendment and left the rest blank. Undercounted ballots is really how we failed to elect Chris Mann 4 years ago, right? And so we're going to incorporate some of that issue into our strategy this fall to help people learn why it's important to fill out the entire ballot, right? But Jennifer Day is awesome, and I'm really excited about her running for Secretary of State. She's doing a good job learning all about the different parts of the job. Insurance Commissioner. Dinah and Dan Hawkins and Dinah Sykes. Dinah was the Democrat running for this. They didn't have primaries. But I did want to point out how many people did fill out his part of the ballot. It was a lot. This isn't too bad. But I can't imagine Dan Hawkins, who's known for being a fairly corrupt insurance salesman, and not a great legislator. You can say that I said that, I don't care. I can't imagine him being the one that's supposed to help you the next time a big storm rips off half your roof. Or the next time you send your kid to college and they wreck their car immediately and you're dealing with insurance, multiple insurance companies, and you need help from your state insurance commissioner. I just can't imagine Dan Hawkins being the one that someone goes to and actually gets support. This man is in it for the insurance companies, and I really appreciate Dinah Sykes and her commitment to not taking any money from any insurance companies or groups associated with insurance companies, which is a big deal because Blue Cross Blue Shield and some of these other companies, they donate to a lot of nonprofits and stuff like that too. And Dinah has avoided being accepting donations from that entire world.
Primary benefit managers.
Pharmacy benefit manager?
Pharmacy. Dan Hawkins tried to block that law to the point where he adjourned the House and 31 other bills were lost
Yeah.
because he didn't want to let people vote on that.
Yeah, well, he wants you to not be able to afford anything, that's what I think, right? From your medications to your house insurance. I mean, homeowners insurance is a big deal for both, older families that might be living on fixed retirement income, because that also impacts your taxes, your house taxes, right? And how much you have in certain accounts. And then for younger people, well, actually, there's a house next to me in my neighborhood. Nobody seems to be able to buy it because I don't think anyone is going to write the insurance for it, right? It's another issue. To have a mortgage, you have to have insurance. running for governor in the last few governor's races. It's been 37, 36, and 35,000. And so we set a goal of 38,000 votes for our gubernatorial nominee. That is our goal. And we also want to try to get 38,000 no votes for the November constitutional amendment. And we also think that Jen Day and Chris Mann are two more of our most critical races. We have 4 very safe blue House seats, right? And there's no Republican running against them. This year for our county commission, those 3 Democrats have essentially run the races. Like there's no competitive Republican that's in the race at all. So that's just not going to be our focus as a county party because we've already won those. Does that make sense? So we're going to be focusing more on how many votes we can get people committed to and out to vote for these 4 things, especially, right? What? Was there a question? Was that your phone? Oh. Small. One of the lessons that we took away from the primary is that we did not get very many of our voters in Douglas County canvassed at an early enough date to define our GOTV universe. And so we have some ideas on how we're going to make sure that happens in a higher percentage. Canvassed means I talked to Amy, and Amy told me who she's going to vote for, and that she has a voting plan, and I can write Amy down for being a canvassed voter. But if I come and knock at Amy's house, and I try to call her, and I didn't get to talk to her, those are canvass attempts, and that's not a canvassed voter. Like, they're not canvassed until they tell us stuff. Even if someone says, oh, I don't tell anybody how I'm going to vote. That's okay. They declined to tell us. That's still a canvass voter, right? So we want to really get the number of canvass voters higher for this cycle. Because among other things, we know that there are registered Republicans and unaffiliateds, right, that are going to vote for our people, but only if we really talk to them. And then we never want to make the mistake of motivating our opposition supporters to get out and vote, right? Like if you're a Republican that's committed to voting for a bunch of Democrats, we will gently remind you to vote and thank you. But if you tell us you're voting a straight arm ticket, we don't want to talk to that person again. They don't need reminders to go vote, right? Not from us. So, one of the things we're going to do is this will come out in an email if you're signed up for our newsletter. There will be a text message and there will be some phone calls. We are going to ask people that are committed Democrats, like, Jerry, are you going to vote a straight Democratic ticket?
Yes.
Are you going to vote no on the...
Yes.
I don't really need to talk to Jerry until October 14th. Well, yeah, see, Jerry Jones canvassed, right? Yeah, but if we do that, what that means is, when we go look at each precinct, instead of 500 Democrats to talk to and 120 unaffiliated and 80 Republicans that we're interested in, right? We can maybe cut that number down by 100 people because we have our super Democrats already committed, right? Now, if you are a committed Democrat, you might get asked if you're going to volunteer, but you're not going to be on the persuasion list, right? Like in Kelly, you tell me that you're going to vote for all the Democrats on your ballot. I don't have to come and talk to you about Dinah, and then talk to you about Chris, and then talk to you about Jennifer Day, and then, do you see what I mean? So, this is a way to focus our canvassing efforts. Got a question, though?
I just noticed, I don't see the Senate.
There's a couple of different reasons for that. Some of that's compliance issues. As of right now, Adam Hamilton has not donated any money to our county party, like the other Senate candidates and our federal candidates did. They are aware of the issue, and as soon as we fix the compliance issue, we can talk about it, right? But these are all state races. are you committed to joining the team that's working on this and adding a fifth priority?
That's our state senator. I'm
Darn it,
committed-
yes.
I'm committed because of the insurance issues. Yes,
So you would serve on our,
yes.
okay? Added. And I'm gonna call you about the meeting. It's not that I don't think it's important. Okay. We also have to focus on what we got close to before and what we think we can win, right? Especially with our very limited resources. So keep an eye out for a super Democrat question. If you are committed, you're gonna show up at some point and, vote for all the Democrats and vote no. Just let us know. And then you're not on the persuasion lists, right? And we can get to the voters that don't know who's on the ballot. Because that's actually most people, right? Also, we are grouping the regions in our county a little differently by precinct. Mary is going to serve as our field manager this fall, and she's, I think, doing a good job by looking at the number of votes that we can get in each precinct. Because you can look at what we did last time for Chris Mann, and what do we need to get him over the line? Just 2%. Right? He lost by 1.58%. So we're looking at how many Chris got, and we want to make sure we get 2% more from him, right? Some of the things we're going to do is we're going to hold kickoff locations in different parts of the county instead of being so centrally focused on the office. And that will be determined by the precincts that we are going to kick off and door knock that day. We hope that makes it easier for people to get to. It makes it more neighborhood or region centric. And I know I'm more likely to show up to something if it's in my neighborhood. I feel obligated, right? So we hope it just makes it more accessible, that it feels more local to people. And we think it might increase our turnout a little bit. We are also going to have a different approach to doing turnout for canvassing and getting commitments to door knocking. And we're going to do weekly, more formal canvas assessments to better track our cycle progress all fall. impacted by the November amendment. It's essentially a poll tax. And again, some of these documents are just not readily available. Our ability to use nonprofit voter registration is actually still intact. ksvotes.org still works. You can also use the Secretary of State. There are paper forms you can use to register people. A good friend of mine named Beth posted on Facebook in the Be the Bear group that voter registration is important. And I think it is. Because we look at voter registration totals and we say, okay, that's how many people support Donald Trump and his ideas, right? Because there's this many Republicans. That those are just assumptions that people make. And that also means that the RNC, the DNC, and all those different groups that raise all the big money, they look at states and their voter registration totals when they are making decisions on what to invest. And so if people really want to see more not Republicans elected in Kansas, we need to encourage them to become registered Democrats, because that's how we get more resources to build a stronger party. And actually, we have 500,000 Democrats almost in Kansas. If we all gave $1 a month to our state Democratic Party, we would be living in a different world. A couple years ago, there were 158 Kansas Blue Club members. Marcy and I were one of them, each, yeah. We were 2 out of 158. There are now over 9,000 monthly recurring donors to our state Democratic Party. And I just want to say thank you to Chair Gina Repass for really building back out the Kansas Blue Club, because it was bigger in the past, right, Nora? I mean, there are times where it's had more support. But over 9,000 a month is really showing some growth. It doesn't have to be a lot of money, right? The whole point of a sustained monthly donation is that organization can expect a certain amount of support and plan ahead better. But again, registering Democrats to vote is very important. Slide. I took these values today. They'll get updated again after the canvass is finalized in Douglas County. The official canvass of the election is Monday, and that's when the vote totals are fully finalized, and it gets sent to the Secretary of State after that. And then they can do things like, let's say you moved on August 1st and you went ahead and updated your voter registration, but you did it when you moved, it hasn't been processed yet, right? Or if you decided to change parties on July 25th, that was after the registration deadline, right? So it hasn't been processed yet. So these will change. It wasn't very long ago that we had 36,000 Democrats on our voter rolls, but these are the active voter registrations that we currently have. This is also down quite a bit. Anybody else remember when we had like 25,000 Republicans here? It wasn't that long ago. But I do think it shows that we are truly one of the 2 blue counties, right? Slide. Whew. I am so excited about this. Bill Hammond, will you raise your hand? Wave to everybody. Yes. Hello, Bill. Yes, give Bill Hammond a round of applause for me. Bill ran for House District 117, and he is one of the candidates that stayed involved with the party and continued to organize in the state. And I'm so grateful for that. We need more of that. Bill has pointed out Douglas County isn't doing a Board of Ed thing, right? We are in districts 4 and 6, so we don't have one on our ballot. But there are a lot of people that live here that care about public education in Kansas. And so we got all 5 Democrats coming to Lawrence, and if you scan that QR code, it'll take you to the free ticket registration link and the one covers 4 Senate districts.
Yes.
So Marcy's district, which is big, times 4, right? And then for people like Lori Wood, running up in northwest Kansas, I don't know, is it 35 counties in her district, Bill?
Lori Wood's district runs from the Oklahoma border, all of Colorado, and a good hunk of Nebraska.
Yeah. It's a lot of the first, but not all.
It is huge. And Lori is the first person, the first Democrat to run. We have not even had a candidate in the last 4 elections.
Yeah, it's been years that we've found 5 Democrats to run in all 5 districts. So it's a big deal. It's a new thing for us as a state even, to make sure that people have a choice when it comes to the State Board of Education.
Can I give one point?
Yeah.
Of the 5 candidates who are not running, there are 3 Democrats and 2 Republicans. I might mention of the 5 Republicans that represent these districts, not one of them is running for re-election. So these are 5 open seats. If we win 2, we have a match on the state board equal. If we win 3 Democrats, we have a Democrat majority in the 4th branch of government in Kansas. Remember, the State Board of Education does not report to the legislature, does not report to the governor or the executive, does not report to the courts. In Kansas, it's the 4th branch. If we win 3 of these races, Democrats will be in control of the 4th branch of government in Kansas. I think it's critical we do it. I think it's critical.
So if you support public ed and majority Democrat boards, I hope you can find time to come. Again, it's also like final Friday art night, so might as well just be downtown walking around anyways. But I think this will be really fun to get to know these brave Democrats running across the state for these 5 positions. And I'm really excited that they're coming here. Again, Carnegie Hall, doors open 5:30. And last announcement, this is for our pie auction. Let me know if they work, but the one with the fork should be the sign up to show up and eat pie, right, the 10. And if you would like to donate a pie, then you can sign up to donate a pie with the other one. At our pie auction, we usually raise between $3,500 and $4,500 every year. We would like to encourage that to be a little higher. There will be, I don't know, roughly we think 15 or so, well, homemade, good-looking pies for auction. And then we'll also have other pies that we're going to cut up, and then we offer them $5 a slice. Lemonade, we decided to cut the lemonade, and then we're going to do iced tea, water, and coffee.
Barbara has now said she will be auctioning 30 pies.
We'll have to talk about that, because that's a time constraint. So, the doors are open at 12:30. You can drop off your pie as early as 11. We now have the building starting at 11. We will kick everything off at 1. We will start the auction a little after 1:30. And then we are still working on confirming what candidates might be able to be with us that afternoon. And especially if we have Adam Hamilton or Cindy, Dinah, Chris, our statewide folks, if we can get them to attend, we're definitely going to give them the floor for a 2 or 3 minute stump speech in a really supportive environment, because they need that too, right? We're a very friendly audience. So the pie auction will be at Flory Hall at the fairgrounds. Good air conditioning, plenty of seating, and decent parking, and ADA accessible. We could probably use a couple more volunteers maybe for it too, so if you're interested in that, please let us know. Oh, thanks. So we are kind of broke. Just being a little honest. I think we're a little broke. Thank you. Yeah, please do. Yeah, if you have a friend that thinks they were elected by write-in, we'd probably still like to talk to you. It's Kurt. Yeah, but until they contact everybody, they don't put out the list of who actually. I will continue to be a notary for another 4 years. So in a couple of years, I'm happy to come to events and stamp everybody's paper. So we're calling the regions that we're splitting our precincts up into these regions and then focused on the vote totals. Sorry, go ahead.
And did you know if there were precincts where there were no write-ins?
Yes, there's going to be, I think, at least 16 positions had absolutely 0 write-ins. And we can have people get appointed to fill them as soon as we elect a new chair, which as far as I know, we're planning on doing in November. And so, I mean, actually the new chair can even do it like right then and there, right? And just be like, you are appointed. So for people that would like to get appointed, we'll try to encourage them to especially attend the central committee meetings in August and November, and then they can get appointed in November. Yeah, thank you for asking. So these would kind of be what we're calling our 5 victory regions. How many of you are in number 1, you think? Anyway. How many might be in number 2? A lot. Eastern Douglas and Eudora? Nobody? Nobody's from Eudora? Noted. In the south, and by Baldwin? Few people. Bill? Yep. Right. And then Lecompton area. NJ, who makes our coffee, I know looks up. Yes, you are from Lecompton. Oh, hi. I thought you had a question. I'm sorry. And can we go to that might be it. Slide? Thank you. Does anybody have any other questions about what happened or what we're doing? Bill?
I just want to thank all the Democrats locally that supported getting this fundraiser for the state board candidates together, because without it, it would not have happened. So there's too many of you to mention. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. It's going to make a difference.
Absolutely. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am?
Since we're kind of broke, we start passing the attic.
Yeah, we should have passed the hat, you're right. Well, you are welcome to throw We encourage at least a $10 donation to the county party is what we will continue to encourage, to pay for the office to hold the signs.